The ashes of Earth. The sky above Earth was a dull, smoky gray, streaked with the remnants of fires that had raged for weeks. Once great cities now lay in ruins, their towering skyscrapers reduced to jagged skeletons of steel and glass. Roads were littered with debris, abandoned vehicles, and the silent echoes of a world that had known life and laughter only days ago. Humanity had faced an enemy unlike any it had ever imagined, a ruthless alien armada that had descended from the stars, annihilating everything in its path. Survivors crawled from the shadows, dazed and broken. Families were torn apart, friends lost, and hope itself seemed to hang by a fragile thread. Underground bunkers and hidden shelters became the last sanctuaries for those left alive. Among them was Dr. Alina Voss, a brilliant scientist who had spent her life studying extraterrestrial phenomena. She had witnessed the aliens' precision, their technology far beyond anything humans had ever faced. Yet in the cold, fearful faces around her, she also saw something else, an unyielding spark of determination. Military Commander Elias Kane surveyed the devastation with clenched fists. His uniform, once crisp and commanding, was now scorched and torn. But in his eyes burned a new purpose. The aliens had made a fatal mistake. They assumed that Earth's defenders, shattered and scattered, would surrender without a fight. Elias knew humanity was smarter, craftier, and far more resilient than the invaders believed. In the dim light of the bunker, Alina and Elias huddled with a small group of soldiers and scientists. They pored over alien technology scavenged from the battlefield, analyzing every weapon, every piece of armor, every energy signature. "They're strong," Alina whispered, "but they're not invincible. They have weaknesses, patterns we can exploit." Her words, though cautious, carried a glimmer of hope. Outside, the ruins of the world were silent but not lifeless. Feral dogs roamed the streets, scavenging for food. Fires crackled in overturned cars, and the wind carried the acrid scent of smoke and dust. And beneath it all, the survivors began to stir, whispering rumors of human ingenuity, of a small band who dared to fight back. For the first time since the massacre began, the idea of resistance took root. Humanity would rise from the ashes, not as a scattered, fearful remnant, but as a force that would strike back. Every loss, every scar, every haunting memory of the devastation became fuel for a determination that no alien could crush. Earth had been battered, but it was far from broken. The message was clear. The age of mercy was over, and the age of human defiance was about to begin. Rising from the shadows. The survivors of Earth's massacre were no longer just frightened remnants. They were becoming something new, something formidable. In hidden bunkers and abandoned factories, humans worked tirelessly, turning desperation into ingenuity. Makeshift laboratories hummed with activity as scientists like Dr. Alina Voss examined alien weaponry, reverse engineering devices that had once seemed impossible to comprehend. Soldiers and engineers collaborated, forging armor and weapons from the twisted metal of destroyed cities, creating tools of survival and instruments of retaliation. Every spark of electricity, every blueprint, every salvaged piece of technology became a symbol of hope. Commander Elias Kane led the scattered militias, rallying men and women who had once feared the very sky. He trained them relentlessly, not just in combat, but in strategies that leveraged humanity's greatest asset, unpredictability. Ambushes, guerrilla tactics, and clever deceptions became their new way of life. Each small victory, whether rescuing a trapped survivor or sabotaging an alien patrol, fueled morale and strengthened bonds. People who had once quarreled over food or shelter now stood united, their shared losses forging unbreakable camaraderie. The landscape of Earth, though scarred and shattered, became a battleground where human creativity and resilience shone brightest. Forests were transformed into defensive strongholds, ruined highways became traps, and even the depths of abandoned subway tunnels turned into secret training grounds. Scouts ventured into areas controlled by aliens, returning with critical intelligence. They discovered patterns in the alien patrols, vulnerabilities in their energy shields, and ways to disrupt their communications. Each revelation, painstakingly analyzed, added a layer to humanity's growing strategy of resistance. Amid the tension, stories of bravery and ingenuity spread like wildfire. A group of teenagers rigged a small drone with a makeshift EMP device, disabling an alien scout unit. A lone engineer managed to hijack an alien supply drop, turning it into a cache of valuable resources. And every action, no matter how small, reminded the survivors that the aliens were not invincible, that Earth's children had something the invaders could never predict: human cunning, audacity, and heart. The world outside remained a wasteland of fire and ash, but within these hidden corners, a revolution was quietly taking shape. Determination radiated from every survivor. Night after night, they planned strikes, tested weapons, and trained tirelessly, their movements precise and deliberate. Every scar, every burned building, every loss became a lesson. Humanity was learning not just to survive, but to fight back, to reclaim the planet that had been stolen from them. And in the midst of it all, Alina and Elias stood together, envisioning the future. The first wave of human strikes would be more than just survival, they would be a declaration. A promise that Earth would not kneel. The message was clear: humanity was rising from the shadows, and the carnage they had endured would fuel a counterattack that no alien could ignore. The age of fear was ending, and the age of human defiance was just beginning. The first strike. The night was thick with smoke and tension as humanity prepared its first true counterattack. Hidden deep within the remains of a shattered city, a coalition of soldiers, engineers, and survivors gathered. Every face was set with determination, every hand gripping a weapon that had been forged or adapted from Earth's ruins. For the first time in months, they were not running. They were advancing. Commander Elias Kane stood atop a crumbled skyscraper, overlooking the alien outpost that had terrorized the area for weeks. "Tonight," he said, his voice cutting through the quiet hum of anticipation, "we remind them who owns this planet. We hit fast, hit smart, and hit where it hurts. No mercy. Not now. Not ever." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group, their resolve hardening into an unbreakable bond. Dr. Alina Voss and her team had devised a plan that combined human ingenuity with salvaged alien technology. Improvised EMP devices would cripple energy shields, while armored drones would serve as distractions, drawing alien attention away from the main strike team. Every step had been calculated, every move rehearsed. This was more than a mission. It was a statement, the first spark of a rebellion that had been smoldering in the shadows. As the operation began, the city erupted into chaos. Explosions shattered the silence, sending alien patrols scrambling. Humans moved with precision, striking with a combination of raw courage and clever tactics. Alleyways and ruined streets became traps, forcing the invaders into deadly ambushes. For the first time, the aliens faced resistance that they had not anticipated. They had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt, to think creatively, to fight not just with weapons, but with instinct and courage. One squad led by Elias infiltrated the alien command hub. They bypassed security drones, neutralized patrols silently, and planted charges at critical points. Meanwhile, Alina coordinated the EMP devices, watching as alien shields flickered and failed, turning the tide of battle in humanity's favor. Victory was not complete, but the psychological impact was monumental. The invaders, once so confident and merciless, were shaken. As dawn broke, the smoke cleared to reveal the aftermath. Humans had inflicted serious damage on the alien operations, captured valuable technology, and most importantly, proven that Earth was not defenseless. The survivors celebrated quietly, knowing this was just the beginning. Every casualty, every risk, every act of bravery had been worth it. Humanity had made its first mark, and the message was unmistakable: Earth would fight back. For the first time in months, there was hope. The first strike had ignited something far greater than tactical success. It had ignited the spirit of resistance, a spark that would grow into an unstoppable blaze. The aliens had learned a harsh truth: humanity could no longer be underestimated. And as the sun rose over the ruined city, its rays glinting off human armor and weapons, the survivors knew one thing for certain: the war for Earth had truly begun, and humanity would not rest until the planet was free. The turning tide. The world was changing. Where once humans had crouched in fear, now they surged forward with a fierce determination. The first strike had ignited a fire in the hearts of survivors across the globe. From ruined cities to hidden villages, resistance cells coordinated attacks, using lessons learned from the initial victories. Guerrilla skirmishes escalated into full-scale offensives. Humanity was no longer reacting, they were dictating the terms of battle. Commander Elias Kane stood before a growing army of survivors, now armed with hybrid human-alien technology. His voice boomed across the battlefield as he laid out the plan for the next assault. Multiple coordinated attacks on key alien strongholds, striking simultaneously to overwhelm the invaders' defenses. We've learned their patterns. We've seen their weaknesses. Now we take the fight to them, and we make them remember Earth is ours. Meanwhile, Dr. Alina Voss and her team had developed a new weapon, an energy disruptor capable of disabling the aliens' advanced shields for brief windows, giving humans a tactical advantage. Using these disruptors, strike teams infiltrated heavily fortified alien bases, sabotaging their command centers and turning their own technology against them. It was a war of wits and willpower, where human creativity proved to be a deadly weapon. Across the globe, the alien forces were faltering. They had underestimated human resilience and ingenuity. Every skirmish that had once resulted in defeat now became a calculated victory. Entire alien patrols were ambushed, supply lines were destroyed, and communications disrupted. The invaders began to retreat, regrouping only to find themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Humanity was no longer hiding. It was advancing, relentless and unstoppable. The battles were brutal, and the cost was high. Survivors mourned fallen friends and family, but each loss strengthened their resolve. Stories of heroism spread like wildfire, an orphaned teenager disabling a drone swarm, a medic rescuing dozens under fire, a group of engineers rigging a crumbling building to trap alien soldiers. Humanity's spirit, forged in fire and blood, could not be broken. As the dust settled after another victorious engagement, Elias looked out over the battlefield. The tide had turned. Where fear and despair had once reigned, courage and determination now flourished. Humanity had proven that they were more than survivors. They were warriors. The aliens, once confident in their supremacy, were beginning to realize the truth. Earth was fighting back, and the human spirit was a force no technology could fully suppress. The turning tide had begun, and with it came a new understanding. Humanity was no longer at the mercy of invaders. They were reclaiming their world, one battle at a time. And as night fell across the scarred lands, a single thought echoed in every human heart. The age of vengeance had begun, and Earth would never yield. Earth strikes back. The sky above Earth was ablaze with fire and light, a chaotic canvas of destruction and defiance. After months of relentless preparation, humanity was ready to deliver its ultimate blow. The alien armada, confident that they had crushed Earth's spirit, was about to learn the full measure of human ingenuity, courage and resolve. Commander Elias Kane stood at the head of a massive coalition of humans. Soldiers, engineers, scientists and civilians alike, each armed with hybrid technology and an unbreakable will. "This is it," he said, his voice echoing over the assembled forces. "Every scar, every loss, every sacrifice has brought us to this moment. Tonight, we take the fight to their doorstep. We strike at the heart of the invaders, and we reclaim our world. No mercy. No hesitation. Earth fights back." Dr. Alina Voss had devised the most daring plan of all, a multi-pronged assault on the alien mothership hovering in orbit, the command center from which the destruction had begun. Using hijacked alien shuttles, human strike teams would infiltrate the ship, disabling its core systems while coordinated attacks on alien ground forces kept the invaders off balance. It was audacious, dangerous, and if executed perfectly, unstoppable. As human forces advanced across shattered cities and blasted landscapes, every soldier, every fighter, every survivor carried the weight of humanity's history. Streets that had once been silent graves now roared with the thunder of battle. Explosions lit the horizon as humans unleashed everything they had learned, turning the alien technology against its creators. Drones swarmed, energy disruptors pulsed, and armored units struck with surgical precision. In orbit, the strike teams navigated the alien mothership with courage and ingenuity, bypassing security measures that would have seemed impossible months earlier. Alina coordinated the assault from a mobile command unit on Earth, her calm authority guiding each team through the deadly corridors of the alien vessel. The humans planted charges, disrupted power cores, and hacked control systems, unraveling the invaders' command structure from within. Below, on the planet's surface, human forces were making unprecedented gains. Entire alien battalions were overwhelmed, retreating in confusion as their technology faltered. Humanity's defiance, once thought fragile, now surged with unstoppable momentum. Every human life lost, every scar endured, had forged a force the aliens could not comprehend. Then came the decisive moment. The mothership erupted in a brilliant, blinding explosion. Shockwaves rippled through orbit and across the planet, signaling the collapse of alien command. The invaders, demoralized and leaderless, retreated into the void of space. Humanity had done the impossible. They had turned the tide of the war, not through sheer numbers, but through courage, unity, and unyielding will. When the dust settled and the fires of battle dimmed, the survivors looked out over a battered but free Earth. Cities were in ruins, yes, but humanity had endured. The planet had been scarred, but it was alive, reclaimed by those who had refused to bow. Commander Elias Kane and Dr. Alina Voss stood together, watching the sun rise over a world that had been tested beyond measure and had emerged victorious. The message was clear, echoing across the cosmos: Earth would never kneel. Humanity had survived the massacre, risen from the shadows, struck back with calculated fury, and reclaimed its home. The age of human defiance had begun, and the galaxy would never forget that when Earth fights, it fights without mercy, and always, always fights to win.